The construction of the Moundsville Jail began in 1866, 3 years after West Virginia was joined to the Union. It was quickly encircled by the town and its massive stone walls. The jail was operational for 129 years before being closed in 1995. Work was completed on a regular basis, and the prison was officially opened in 1876, housing 251 prisoners, some of whom had helped in its construction. Following that, further facilities, workshops, and sheds were built, including a wash house, bakery, and hospital within the North Recreation Yard. Many people died there, as a result of state-sanctioned executions and prison brutality. According to local legend, the original jail buildings were built on the site of an ancient Native American burial ground. A prison coal mine, approximately a mile away, was opened in 1921, helping the facility with its energy demands and saving thousands of dollars each year. Inmates were also forced to work, with some being permitted to stay at the mine's camp under the supervision of the mine. Overcrowding had been an issue, therefore the jail was increased in capacity in 1929. Before this period, 3 men were confined to a 5 by 7 foot cell, with 2 sleeping on bunks and the third on a mattress on the floor. Inmate labor was once again utilized to construct a new wing attached to the prison's south side, which was finished in 1939. More development was planned, but it was postponed due to a steel shortage during World War II, and it wasn't finished until 1959. The North Wagon Gate was a small structure on the north side of the jail that housed both men and women convicts at one point. In the early days before the electric chair, wooden trapdoors on the second story were used for hangings. Old Sparky, the prison's electric chair, is still housed in one of the prison cells. All executions were once carried out at the Death House, a distinct structure in the North Recreation Yard. It was taken away in 1965 when West Virginia banned executions. Inmates rioted on January 1, 1986, when the jail was short-staffed due to the holiday. Around 5:30 p.m., a gang of 20 prisoners known as the Avengers rushed the mess hall and assaulted Captain Glassick, 5 other officers, and a food service worker. They were all pushed to the ground and shackled with the guards' handcuffs. During the 2-day unrest, more hostages were abducted. 3 convicts were murdered during the uprising. Following negotiations with Governor Arch Moore, the jail was given a new set of regulations and standards to follow. There were no significant injuries among the hostages. The West Virginia Supreme Court determined in the same year that imprisonment to the 5 by 7 foot cells was a cruel and unusual punishment. The population was reduced during the next decade as new prisons were built. When it was decided to shut the prison in 1995, there were only 600 to 700 convicts left. Approximately 998 persons died at the prison over its 119-year history, 36 of which were murders, 85 men were hung in the prison gallows, and 9 men were electrocuted. It goes without saying the hauntings have been numerous and often. An inmate named Roberts died in his cell, after a disciplinary session with the warden, and was buried behind a wall. Robert's spirit haunts his cell, where he died from his injuries. The Cincinnati Enquirer, on November 30, 1886, reported that the wardens had been known to torment unruly convicts by splashing them with ice-cold water, while they were in stocks. The worst offenders were subjected to near-death beatings, while being tethered to a device called a kicking jenny. The inmates' feet were cuffed to the floor, their bodies bent over a kicking jenny, and their hands were chained above their heads on blocks. The Sugar Shack, a winter recreation space in the basement, has been a hub of ghostly activity. Despite the fact that no one was murdered, there was a lot of violence since the guards were quite lax. The gallows area is said to be haunted by Paul Atkins. He was the victim of a botched hanging, which was one of several. He was on the scaffold when the trapdoor unexpectedly opened, and he went down the hole, falling on his head and suffering serious injuries. The soldiers dragged him back up the scaffold, and hanged him this time properly. The most often observed ghost is that of a maintenance worker who resided in the basement, and was frequently observed by the living roaming about the basement's toilet area. The maintenance worker made it his pastime to inform the guards about inmates' wrongdoings, which must have made him feel important and powerful. While he was in the toilet, the convicts got together and shivved him with handmade knives. Phantom footsteps, voices and noises that have no explanation, unexplainable cold shivers, overpowering emotions of terror, and more have been reported by visitors. The West Virginia Penitentiary is widely regarded as one of the most haunted prisons in the country. According to some experts, the prison is haunted by over 100 different spirits. It has been the subject of several TV programs including Paranormal Lockdown, Portals to Hell, and Ghost Adventures. From April through December, visitors to the prison can take 90-minute day tours, 3-hour, as well as overnight investigations, and numerous other activities. So what do you think of West Virginia Penitentiary? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, please like and subscribe.